Hey everyone, welcome back to Redbanditracing. Welcome back to the channel. We got the X-MAXX here. I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace one of the shock rods on the GTX Shocks. I'm also going to be changing up the fluid. I did go from the stock 30 weight to 70 weight, and I think now I'm going to go ahead and put 60 weight because it is extremely stiff, and I'm going to lighten up just a little bit. It's going to make a chassis slap a little bit more, but I do have some extra adjustment I can make on the shock collars. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'll show you guys why we're doing it. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and take all the shocks off. Let's go ahead and pop the pins out. All right, let's get these shocks out. All right, so now we got our shocks out. Can you guys see the problem and why we're doing this? Right there. Now, as far as parts go, all this will be in the description. 7763, and we can see it because of the light. Ooh, the glare. 7763, those are gonna be the standard ones. Now, I couldn't get my hands on the titanium in time. I am gonna order those and put titanium shock rods in all these. If you guys do have an issue with one of the seals, here's a seal kit, that's 7762X. Now, as far as the oil goes, the stock oil is 30 weight. We went to 70, it was really stiff. I liked it, but I'm gonna go down just a little bit to help prevent this. This was not because of the shock oil. This took some hard landings on the corner. So I wasn't surprised that one bent, but we are gonna put 60 weight in it. So we're gonna put that aside. Now I got the seal kit just in case one of the seals tear while I do this, but I am going to do one. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera. Majority of the screws you're going to be using is going to be your 2.0. Let me know if you guys like this mat. This is a brand new mat from Cow RC. I like the carbon series. Much easier to clean, and I like how it has everything on the sides here. All these coils are the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. Now these aren't too dirty because we already washed the truck, but if your truck is dirty because you just ran it, I really suggest cleaning it before you do this. That way you don't get any dirt and stuff inside the shock. Wow, look how bent that one is. These should be a fairly easy repair. I do like the way that Traxxas did their GTX and GT-MAXX shocks. They're actually pretty simple to service. Right, there we go, got all those off. All right, and there we go. Just make sure everything's wiped off. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna start emptying these out into my container here. All right, so really simple. Take the top off carefully. We're going to dump this out. As you can see, this is a little bit dirty, but it's actually not too bad. Okay, I'm going to put another towel down right over here, and all I'm going to do is put that upside down. These really aren't that dirty, so I'm not too worried about cleaning them out. Now, if these were extremely dirty because you haven't serviced them in a while, or you demolished one of your shocks, go ahead, clean it out, spray some cleaner in there, really get all that dirt out. But this is not bad at all. I've had some where, yeah, I'd have to spray it out with parts cleaner, get it nice and cleaned out. And then I went ahead and rebuilt my shocks. But these were done no more than 4 weeks ago. It really wasn't that long. There we go. Now, we'll put these caps aside, clean those diaphragms off. This one got stuck in there, but usually if you just push it with your finger like that, you can pop it out. If you can't, don't get a pick. If that's all you got, that's fine, but you know, you can take your Allen, pop that seal back, just find the corner inside. That way you don't rip it or damage it. All right, now let's get this broken one taken care of. I'm not going to push this one all the way down because I can't. I don't want to further damage anything that's inside. Let's go ahead and pop that bottom off. All you need is an adjustable wrench. Just loosen the bottom. It's not going to be on real tight. You don't want that on real tight. Screw that off. See the seal? Move it up just a little bit so I know you guys are perfectly in frame. There we go. Now you can take the tube, put that upside down over there, and there we go. I believe that's a 7mm. Let me check. Yes, that's a 7. It should also be the same size that the typical 4-way wrench that comes with all your guys' cars. Ironically, I don't have one laying around. Oh yes, I do. Here we go. Same thing. Perfect. I just like using a driver. A little bit easier to hold. So when you put it on, you're going to have to hold on to the actual shock rod. So what I do is get a pair of cutters to help hold it. Hold it near the bottom. If you're going to use these, hold it near the bottom. You don't want to hold it near the top because if you score this, especially on the new rod, you're going to start damaging your seals. But this one's actually a little bit bigger, so I'm going to have to use something else to grab it. Right, I'm actually going to use these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to grab it just like that. That way I don't damage anything on it, even though this is already damaged. But this is just going to help hold it so you can take this nut off. Okay, make sure you put that down in the order that you're taking it off. Remember, there's a washer right there, so don't lose that. There's one on the bottom. Put that down right there. And then now you have your seal for the bottom, which this was a good design. Helps keep a lot of that extra debris out. That one's pretty bent. This one's done. Okay, we're gonna pop one of these out, and then we're gonna have a spare. All right, let's go and open up this package. We're only gonna be using one of these, so let's go ahead and check this out. See everything that it comes with. I have them up here. They're pretty self-explanatory. You know, you got your cartridge, your clip, your O-ring, your bushing. That's how they go on. Just follow this. It's extremely easy if you guys don't know how to do this. I've replaced a lot of these shocks over the years, so it just get really familiar with it. Let's go ahead and take these. Let's go and get rid of them because we're not going to be reusing these. I don't want to get them confused. Any of the stuff confused with all the new parts, so it's best to just get rid of it once you're replacing it. Use a new seal, new cartridge. I believe this is what they call, I think it's just a bushing. Washer, if I can pick the washer up. There we go. And we have our clip. And now let's go and grab our new piston. Now, it tells you to go ahead and assemble this, but we're going to do it a little bit differently because I want to make sure this goes on right without tearing the seal. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and put this on first. Now we're going to take this seal. We're going to make sure it's lubricated. Grease it up real good with your shock oil. Then we're going to slide this on. Kind of go up with it right there so you can get a tool on it. Preferably your 4-way. There you go. Make sure that seals all the way down. Once it seals all the way down, you're going to take this bushing, the tapered end. See how there's a tapered end on it? Tapered end is going to go down. Same thing. Push that all the way down. Once it's all the way down, take your clip. Doesn't matter which side. And you're going to push the clip in. Now, if the clip doesn't go in, you got to make sure that it's all the way down. See, this one can go down just a little bit more. All right. There we go. That clip, just make sure that it's pressed all the way in, like that. Now, the reason why I did it that way is because if you guys assemble this and then slide the whole cartridge on with the bushing in it, there's a possibility of tearing that O-ring that you saw me put in there, and you don't want to tear that trying to put it over. So assemble it with it on, that way you don't have to worry about tearing it, and that's much better right there. Now I still have a little bit of oil on my gloves, so I want to make sure I put it on that O-ring right there. All right, that looks good. Got the seal on, got it together. Now let's put the piston on. First thing you're gonna do, go and put that washer on. You see these three indents inside that piston. I'm gonna use that facing up because that's how it came off. If you're unsure about how you took it off, go ahead and reference your other shocks. That's always the easiest way to do it if you ever have any problems or you're questioning how you took it apart. Check out your other shocks, see how those are installed, and go ahead and use that as your guide. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten this just like before. Get that tight. You don't have to go crazy tight on it. That's all you really need on it. So yeah, I just make sure that those are facing up. If you guys can see it, I'm gonna try and zoom in for you when I'm editing this. There's a slight lip, a very, very slight lip. I can't tell if that's why that they installed those facing up. Some pistons are pretty obvious that there's a tapered end. This one, you can't really see it. But anyways, that's it. Let's go and get our shock tube. Put a little bit more oil on this before I finish putting it on, because the last thing you guys want is that seal to tear. Make sure it goes on smooth. Now, it might be kind of hard, but actually that's not that bad. Just make sure you grip it tight, give it a good turn, and that's all you need. And there you go. That one's all done. So let's go and put some oil in it. Fill it about 3/4 full. You guys saw that? Go up slow and down. All those air bubbles coming out. Sometimes I'll twist it going up, twist it going down, just to make sure there's no air in there. Now replacing all these parts, you're gonna have some air in it. Now you're gonna put this aside for at least 5 or 10 minutes, let it completely get all the air out. While I'm waiting on this, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other 3. All right, so that's had time to bleed. Looks good. So let's go ahead and get the cap and the bladder ready. Always make sure you take your pick. Check the hole. Make sure there's no obstructions, make sure there's no dirt, because that can affect how the air escapes. Now, go ahead, take the bladder. I put on the inside of the cap, just like that. That's what I like about the GT Max and the GTX Shocks. You don't have to worry too much about the bladder. Like the Ultra Shocks, it's kind of hard to do that. You kind of want to put it on the shock and then, you know, suck it down as you're pulling the shock rod down and then screwing the cap on. These, because they're so big, they're a lot easier to work with. All right, that actually looks good, so let's go and top it off. That's probably a little too much, but that's okay. We're gonna go with it. I'm gonna hold it right here so you guys can see it. Right there, see the air? That's all the air leaving. So now I'm just gonna grab it right there and make sure it's tight. That's probably tight enough. And there we go. Rebuilt. Take our spring, put our spring on. Just like that. We're good to go. This doesn't look like the spring bent a whole lot, so that's good. So now we have all 4 of them done. Now, if you guys are wondering, That's how much I have left in here. You probably can't see that. It takes 2 of these. That's 4 ounces to go ahead and service the shocks on the X-MAXX. So it's really not too bad. That's a lot of fluid. Normally one of those containers for like a GTR or even Ultra Shock, that'll last is probably quite a few services. It's not too bad. So let's go ahead and get all these put in. All right, now we got that done. Let's go ahead and add some load. I usually do it equally, and then what I do is once we go out and run them, I'll adjust from there. So I'm gonna go about there because I do plan on taking this thing out and hitting the ramp. So I'm gonna put quite a bit of load on it. I'm just gonna get them started, and then I usually just line them up next to each other and make sure they're all equal, and then I'll go out and adjust from there. If I feel like the back end is hitting more than the front, I'll adjust. If I feel like the front's hitting more, then I'll adjust the front. It's really hard, especially when you add a lot of extra oil to your shocks. You just don't know how the truck is going to handle. Yep, that one was close. All right, and there you go. Got all these done. Gonna make sure everything's cleaned up. Now, what you're also gonna wanna do is, now that you got these done, you're gonna wanna spray them off with some parts cleaner, or go ahead and use some simple green and blow them off, because what you don't want is all that oil from bleeding it or servicing it to stay on the shock, because once you go out in dirt is just gonna stick to this shock and it's gonna look really bad. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up, throw them back on the truck. The bleeder, I would have it facing the rear of the car, just so that when you're racing it or whatever you're doing with your car, the dirt's not being directed right towards that hole. All right, guys, well, I got it all done. The suspension is definitely not as stiff, but it's still pretty stiff. I think that'll work out well. We're gonna have to test it and see if it chassis slaps. If it does, I might go back to the 70 weight. 70 weight is kind of high, but I think this will fare pretty well. I went ahead and replaced the front bumper off camera because I went ahead and split it, so I threw a new bumper on. I think I'm gonna take the wheelie bar off. I'm not sure. I think that does affect the back flips depending on how it exits the ramp. But yeah, X-MAXX is ready to go. Real simple repair, guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment. Let me know if you guys like something or there's something I should try with this. I'm definitely gonna put a servo in it. I'm just waiting to put it in. So once we do that, this thing should steer really nice. I put the non-belted tires back on, took the belted ones back off. This is gonna go against the sledge, and eventually it's gonna go against the Creighton, so stay tuned for those videos. Check out our Patreon page. Again, a lot of sneak peeks and behind the scenes, and even some footage that we didn't put out will be on our Patreon channel. Just a little extra for you guys. So go check that out. Make sure you guys check out our Instagram page. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to this one. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed it. See you on the next one.